From Marcus Brownlee exposing a billion-dollar EV company,
I think it's just the worst car I've ever tested.
to Matt Pat warning against a shady multi-channel network.
You have to protect yourself because no one else is going to do it for you.
Here are 7 times YouTubers took down evil companies, starting with young Roblox hero Schlepp, real name Michael, who forced the exploitative game platform into a corner.
The Roblox Corporation has sent a cease and desist letter to me, a 22-year-old, versus a multi-billion-dollar company, threats of litigation.
Referring to the legal action taken against him after he started exposing PDF files on their platform and having them arrested, which he has done 6 times as of September 2025. These investigations, however, go beyond social justice for Michael, who was himself groomed as a child back in 2015 by a Roblox developer. This senior individual shared corn with Michael and engaged in eschewal conversations with him, resulting in near-fatal consequences as described by his lawyer. When my client attempted self-deletion and was hospitalized, his mother contacted Roblox seeking help. Roblox was unresponsive until she threatened legal action. Only then did they engage, and only to claim the abuse happened on another platform. Despite this legal step, Roblox would keep the evil developer on its payroll, only firing him years later for essaying a colleague instead of addressing his PDF file history. This experience inspired Michael to take matters into his own hands when he grew up, using his channel to highlight inappropriate Roblox games and use decoys to lure out predators. These actions earned him widespread support from the community, but also the wrath of the company, whose stock had taken a hit following these revelations, forcing Roblox to take legal action against Michael, a move summed up by one comment: Roblox is like average teacher. They won't do anything when victim is getting bullied, but when victim tries to fight back, they suddenly take action and of course attack the victim. With the action triggering the gaming community, Roblox would try to justify its decision.
So we saw these actors, they're pretending to be kids, they're trying to find adults, and then what they're doing is they're trying to move the conversation as quickly as possible to other platforms.
This explanation, however, wouldn't go down well with the internet, which further increased its support for Michael. With the situation spiraling into a PR crisis, the company only made things worse for itself by going after Michael's community. The fact that Roblox can ban or take down free Schlepp games in under an hour, but are so slow to take down public bathroom games is insane. Despite these attempts to silence Michael and his supporters, the hashtag Free Schlepp movement would gain even more momentum when one of the biggest Roblox creators took a stand.
Roblox is so detached from reality. I feel like it's got to be done at this point. I'm leaving the STAR program. I'm out. I'm done.
It wasn't just the Roblox community speaking out, though.
So instead of stopping the predators, Roblox stops the people stopping the predators. It's really backwards, if you ask me. That doesn't make any sense.
With big content creators calling out Roblox, the company took more hits to its stock, losing over $12 billion in just 9 days. These losses are only set to increase, with famous PDF file hunter Chris Hansen also joining Michael in August of 2025 to expose the evil company's practices.
I mean, if I were the CEO of Roblox, I would make you an ambassador for security. I'm a little dumbfounded that they haven't figured it out.
Inspiring renewed hope and support from the community, including fellow internet hero Gideon, whose hunt for predators has taken him to the top, with fans noting Gideon risking his life by exposing rich pred is peak determination, describing the YouTuber's plan to catch 68-year-old Paul Fusen.
He's coming to me when he thinks is a 15-year-old girl. And the crazy thing about this dude is this might actually be one of the most successful preds that we've ever caught. I mean, the dude literally is a high-ranking member in his company.
Further sharing sickening details of the millionaire's actions.
Man, the chat log's disgusting. This dude's very manipulative. And I mean, what do you think about this?
I think he's a sick bastard. In some of these chat logs, he's just like straight up like he's writing some kind of novel.
The motivation behind these actions would come to light when Gideon caught up with the creep after luring him to a playground.
I got on Instagram and was just kind of seeing what was out there, and it feels like there's a lot of that going on.
A lot of what going on.
Young girls wanting to look older.
Despite his concerning actions, Paul would try to make a case for himself.
This feels like I'm constrained by work, constrained by having to be a certain way with my family and my wife. And this was a way to
Escape.
Breaking Bad.
Different escape kind of thing, yeah.
This defense didn't hold up in public court, however, with thousands of people reminding the internet: 1. They give you the Saab backstory. 2. You feel bad for them. 3. You remember why they're on Gideon's channel. Being on the channel also meant Paul was forced to listen to his horrible messages spoken out loud.
With you sitting on my lap, I will use to probe your mouth. Your natural response will be to on it.
Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
I know it's hard to hear now, but why wasn't it hard whenever, I mean, something was hard when these were being written, but why wasn't it hard for you to send this to her, man?
This intervention would end with a visit from the police, who arrested Paul, slapping him with 9 felony charges. Despite the successful catch of a millionaire, the job isn't done for Gideon.
Soon, you're gonna be catching some politicians as well.
But while Gideon is going out of his way to expose big organizations and their predators, YouTube tech reviewer Marcus Brownlee helped destroy a shady billion-dollar company in 2024 just by doing his regular job.
I think it's just the worst car I've ever tested.
This scathing review was directed at an electric SUV made by Fisker, an automobile company founded in 2016 that aimed to rival Tesla. Initially, Fisker made waves as the shiny new toy in the EV world, attracting major investors and public interest. The hype, however, was mainly built on promises made by the CEO Henry Fisker over the years. The opportunity I see here is to come out with a high-volume, reasonably priced, good-looking, real electric SUV, because I think there's a real miss in the market in that segment. The long-awaited SUV, called the Ocean, would finally be launched in 2023, with Marcus being one of the first to review it.
The fundamentals are actually fine. Like, I actually think it's a pretty handsome trim, a pretty good-looking car. It's got a good amount of storage. It drives pretty well. It's quiet on the inside.
These positives would soon take a back seat, though, after what Marcus realized.
You could give me this car and I wouldn't want to drive it. There are so many annoyances, especially with things just like the cameras and the driver assistance things beeping and blinking randomly for no reason. It just feels like the buggiest car I've ever tried.
Despite his negative review, Marcus remained sympathetic.
I think the theme here is it's just a young company that doesn't really know exactly what they're doing with a lot of these choices yet, or hasn't considered all of the things necessary to make a great dailyable car.
Further noting that the Ocean software was yet to be updated. But as someone pointed out, imagine buying a car and waiting for the DLC to drop. This revelation, along with the rest of the review, sent shockwaves through the internet that dealt an immediate blow to Fisker, forcing the company into damage control as it scrambled to update its software in hopes of better feedback. Marcus, however, remained unimpressed.
A lot of it still comes down to the fact that this is Fisker's own software. It doesn't have Android Auto, it doesn't have CarPlay, and it's still a bit of a laggy, buggy mess.
This second review convinced more investors and potential customers to back out, forcing Fisker into bankruptcy 3 months later. Worse, the bankruptcy would reveal issues throughout the company, from cash mismanagement to unfair employee treatment. While the company had dug its own grave, some people pointed fingers at Marcus for ruining its reputation. So, the sneeze of an influencer, whether biased or not, can lead to the collapse of a company. I honestly suspect it's not a very healthy thing. The online tech detective wasn't fazed, though, clapping back with a simple truth.
All that any honest review actually does is just accelerate whatever was already going on. Let's think of it that way.
Emphasizing that a bad company is responsible for its own downfall. Without bad reviews, bad products just live longer and disappoint more people than they should. A sentiment that YouTuber Gamers Nexus, real name Steve Burke, can relate to after exposing a tech company's fraud in 2022.
Newegg has, we feel, stolen $500 from my company.
Referring to his disappointing experience with online PC retailer Newegg.
Despite having spent tens of thousands of dollars with Newegg over the last 16 years I've been their customer, they decided to screw me out of $500, and I haven't even gotten the motherboard back that I sent in for return.
Further revealing on X that Newegg accused him of damaging the returned product, even though he hadn't even opened it. Of all the people to screw over, they managed to do it to the guy with the social media equivalent of a nuclear warhead. Sure enough, Steve's rant would soon go viral, encouraging thousands of similarly frustrated customers to speak up. This movement against the scamming company further intensified when other tech YouTubers YouTubers chimed in.
I do think it is important to hold Newegg accountable for their decisions and the way they treat customers, and if enough people have an experience like Steve's, that should be publicly broadcast so people can be aware.
As if these experiences weren't bad enough, one YouTuber even revealed that Newegg tried to bribe him. These public exposés sent Newegg stock into freefall, forcing it to scrape together some respect online. A very small number of returns may not have been thoroughly inspected. They were unintentional process errors and isolated incidents. No one was buying it though, because the avalanche of complaints revealed a pattern of poor service going back to 2018, when customers were exposed to a disastrous data leak, leading many to conclude, they're not sorry for what happened, they're only sorry they got caught and exposed. This backlash hurt the evil company's chances of bouncing back, as it now grapples with a poor image and the threat of bankruptcy. This dark reality is also looming over Valve, Counter-Strike's parent company, whose ugly side was exposed by YouTube's Sherlock Holmes' CoffeeZilla.
Underage gambling is rampant on Counter-Strike.
Further noting that the company had ignored this problem since 2016, despite it affecting millions of kids.
When I was young, that's the most easily influential age to get people in, because I can't go to a real casino and gamble.
These stories encourage Steven to dig deeper, explaining how Counter-Strike's loot boxes were designed to promote gambling.
Now you might notice this whole process, especially the near misses, resembles a slot machine. I believe that's not an accident.
When Valve's executives were interrogated by authorities, though, they only dug a deeper hole for themselves.
What's the question?
Has gambling led to greater interest in Counter-Strike?
Has it?
Yes.
We don't know. We don't have any data to support that.
Brother was smiling and avoiding eye contact. That was unbelievable. Not only did their body language give them away, but their statement was also swiftly dismissed by Steven.
Anytime a company with this much data tells you, we don't have the data, it means we don't like what the data says, or we don't want to know what the data says, so we've avoided looking.
Following it up with a damning verdict on Valve.
So if they wanted to definitively shut down the casinos, they could, but it just is going to require work. Work that Valve doesn't seem to have a huge appetite to do.
A sentiment that his viewers also shared. I highly doubt Valve will ever take any action unless they legally have to. Valve would indeed get away lightly despite the interrogation, as explained by a legal expert.
What the regulators told me is that the prosecutors didn't feel that they would be able to prosecute the case successfully. So they did not pursue a case.
Steven, however, remains focused on his mission against the gaming Goliath.
Knowing the odds are slim hasn't stopped kids from getting addicted. So it's not going to stop me either. This is a gamble I'm willing to take.
But while the beloved online detective is hot on the heels of a pro gambling company, the internet's game theorist, MatPat, exposed his former employer back in 2019 for shady tactics.
Collectively, us 50 had $1.7 million stolen from us. $1.7 million stolen from 50 people.
Referring to the actions of Defy Media, a multi-channel network that featured Matt and 49 other popular creators like Smosh and Screen Junkies. These YouTubers brought in over 80 million monthly views, with Defy taking a cut of the revenue in exchange for supporting the creators with resources. Even though this model seemed to work at first, things took a turn when Defy started to get greedy.
All this ad revenue money from checks that didn't belong to them, and then ultimately go around bragging about how much money they were earning in the press, in blogs, to their big business contacts, saying, look at how rich and successful we are. Don't you want to invest your money in us, become a part of our business, make it bigger, more successful, and then we all make tons of cash?
The desire to grab investment even led the company to lie to its hardworking creators.
At one point, Defy even asked us if they could delay paying us our AdSense for a month. We found out later, and by later I mean recently, that they kept the money to make their books look better for the investors. Shady, shady, friends.
Despite these desperate attempts, Defy's poor financial management would end up being its downfall, with partner YouTubers suffering the most.
Smosh and other channels that belong to Defy are left homeless.
Smosh is homeless. Super homeless. Yeah.
Anthony, former founder of Smosh, is left penniless.
As for Matt, it wasn't just the stolen money that hurt him.
So stupid. But someone who I thought had decency. Someone who I at the very least saw as a friend or as a somewhat okay boss, would get on the phone and take advantage of someone he knew.
This betrayal of trust inspired even his critics to side with him. Even though we have our differences, I find it disgusting how big business tried to abuse YouTubers. This is disgusting, Matt, and you have my support. While Defy had already gone under, Matt's expose highlighted the rampant exploitation in these businesses.
You have to protect yourself because no one else is going to do it for you.
A rallying call that would inspire other YouTubers to call out these manipulative businesses. Much like how YouTube investigator Tyler Oliveira called out the most corrupt churches in America. Now this is where it gets good.
Do you think you've used the Lord's word to profit? Like grossly? Do you think you distorted the Lord's word to make money?
This interrogation was part of his quest to name and shame pastors who are notorious for exploiting faith for financial gain. Starting with Kenneth Copeland, a millionaire televangelist who had become unpopular for defending his luxurious life. Tyler, therefore, decided to investigate one of Kenneth's churches, only to hit a roadblock.
We're doing a little interview right now.
Okay, this is private property. You're not allowed to do that, so I've got the police right here.
This intervention, however, did not prevent the investigator from making his way inside the church.
As the ushers collected donations, I was happy to learn they also accepted credit card, but was surprised they didn't take crypto.
These donations, as Tyler learned, reportedly go into pastors' accounts, with one woman explaining to him,
"There are these self-proclaimed middlemen between God and the people, and they definitely use it to their advantage, unfortunately."
Leading some to point out the irony. They must not have heard of "the love of money is the root of all evil." A similar pattern would be observed in the man who sold his soul for a perfect smile, Joel Osteen, who was using his church to sell his books, and Benny Hinn, whom Tyler exposed in front of thousands.
Benny Hinn is a false prophet. It's Snake Oil Sanders.
Enough is enough, brother. Enough is enough.
To which Benny responded by unleashing security on Tyler and his friend.
I just got hogtied, body slammed and tackled. Pasha went running and apparently they clipped him with a golf cart and proceeded to beat his head in and delete the footage.
The fact that Benny Hinn's crew responded with violence, death threats, and seething anger says it all. Nevertheless, the community was grateful to Tyler, making Tyler yet another YouTube hero who fought an evil organization.